Welcome back to the channel USD Coins coin collectors and treasure hunters. If you've ever fished around in your pocket change, wondering if one of those small, shiny dimes might be worth more than its face value, then today's story will absolutely thrill you. This isn't just about any ordinary coin. Today, we're diving deep, really deep, into the fascinating story of a seemingly humble coin, the 1971 Liberty 1 dime. It's a coin that, under the right circumstances, could be worth up to $4.5 million. That's right. $4.5 million for a 10-cent piece. The reason? A series of incredible errors and minting mistakes that turned it into one of the rarest and most mysterious coins ever to come out of the United States Mint. Now, on the surface, the 1971 dime looks like any other Roosevelt dime you'd find rattling around in your change jar. It's small, it's clad, and it has that familiar face of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. It bears the D mint mark, indicating it was minted in Denver. Nothing about it screams millionaire's treasure at first glance. But, as we're about to uncover, there are layers of history, minting anomalies, production quirks, and numismatic intrigue that elevate this coin into a completely different category. To understand why this dime is so special, we need to step back and explore how dimes were minted during that era. In the early 1970s, the United States Mint was in full production mode, striking billions of coins annually. Roosevelt dimes had been in circulation since 1946, replacing the Mercury dime, and by 1971, they were made using a copper-nickel-clad composition instead of the earlier 90% silver content. This shift in metal composition started in 1965, as silver prices rose and the U.S. moved away from precious metals in everyday coinage. The 1971 dime was struck in this copper-nickel-clad composition, with a core of pure copper sandwiched between two outer layers of cupronickel. It's a common coin, at least at first glance. But then comes the anomaly: an extremely limited number of these coins exhibit features that simply should not exist. Errors that aren't minor scratches or wear from circulation, but deeply rooted flaws introduced during the minting process itself. These are errors that make experienced numismatists do a double take. We're talking about missing clad layers, off-center strikes, double dies, overstrikes, and even rogue mint marks. Each of these mistakes introduces a wrinkle into the story, and some lucky, or observant, individuals who have come across these rare error dimes have found themselves holding a coin worth thousands, or in this exceptional case, millions. Let's break down the types of errors that have been reported in 1971 dimes. The first and most visually dramatic is a missing clad layer. As mentioned, clad dimes are constructed with a copper core and two layers of cupronickel. Sometimes, due to problems during planchet preparation, the outer layer doesn't adhere correctly or falls off. What results is a dime that appears to have a reddish, coppery color, instead of its usual silver sheen. If you find a 1971 dime with this look, don't spend it, have it examined by a professional. Depending on the condition and the extent of the missing clad layer, it could fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Then there's the off-center strike. When a coin blank, or planchet, isn't properly aligned in the coining press, the dies stamp the design partially off the surface. In minor cases, it's a curiosity. But in more extreme cases, where 40% or more of the design is missing, such errors become both valuable and highly collectible. A 1971 dime with a dramatic off-center strike, especially one that still displays the date and mint mark, is a dream find for many collectors. Another fascinating and highly sought-after error is the double die. This happens during the die-making process when the coin's design is impressed on the die more than once but in slightly misaligned positions. This leads to a doubling of certain elements on the coin, most commonly visible in the date, the word Liberty, or the motto, "In God We Trust." A double die error on a 1971 dime is extremely rare, but not impossible. And because it involves the actual creation of the die, every coin struck with that die carries the same error, making them a known variety that collectors can hunt for. Let's not forget about the overstrike or struck on wrong planchet errors. Sometimes, a dime is mistakenly struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination. Imagine finding a dime struck on a penny or even a foreign coin blank. These freak events occur due to the chaotic environment in high-speed minting facilities, where planchets of various denominations may occasionally get mixed together. A 1971 D dime struck on a penny planchet, for example, would weigh less, look completely different in color, and may have design elements missing. These are exceptionally rare and command very high prices at auction, but what truly sets apart the most legendary 1971 D dime, the one estimated at a value of $4.5 million, is the cumulative effect of multiple errors. This isn't just one simple mistake. It's a Frankenstein of minting anomalies, possibly the result of an experimental production run or a rogue set of circumstances so rare it has never been officially documented. The coin is believed to have a misaligned die strike, a doubled die, a missing clad layer, and even irregularities in the mint mark itself. Some numismatists believe that this coin was struck using a transitional die or a prototype die not intended for circulation. There are theories that it may have even been an accidental release from a test batch meant for internal use only, making it essentially a minting ghost, a coin that shouldn't exist, but somehow escaped into the wild. And then there's the mystery of the mint mark. The Denver Mint has had its share of controversial and confusing mint mark issues, especially during periods of transition or heavy production. Some examples of 1971 D dimes show mint marks that are repunched, misaligned, or in highly unusual positions. In some cases, the D mint mark appears to have been struck more than once, slightly shifted. These are known as RPMs, repunched mint marks. While not always high-value errors, certain extreme cases can boost a coin's desirability considerably. Now, how did one specific 1971 D dime come to be valued at $4.5 million? It comes down to provenance, uniqueness, and demand. The coin in question reportedly came to light in a private collection, held quietly for decades before being evaluated by expert graders and authenticated as a unique piece exhibiting a previously unknown combination of multiple minting errors. It was encapsulated and graded at the highest levels of preservation, mint state condition with full details, and sold in a private transaction to an anonymous buyer who is believed to be a high-profile collector specializing in error coins and rare varieties. When coins reach this level of rarity and desirability, value becomes a function not only of condition and demand but also of the story behind the coin. This dime doesn't just represent a minting mistake, it represents a fluke of history, a minting enigma that challenges our understanding of how such a coin could have possibly been made and released. The value of this coin has also been bolstered by media attention and the growing fascination with rare coins in general. As more people become aware of the hidden treasures potentially hiding in their spare change, stories like that of the 1971 D Liberty 1 dime continue to spark curiosity and excitement. Coin hunting has become a serious hobby, and sometimes even a livelihood, for people all over the world. Metal detectorists, roll hunters, and collectors comb through bags of dimes from banks, hoping for that once-in-a-lifetime find. In recent years, online communities and social media platforms have exploded with posts and videos about coin errors, increasing public awareness and fueling the market for rare finds. Auction houses have responded by offering specialized coin events focused exclusively on errors, varieties, and transitional pieces. And with more eyes on every coin, the chances of discovering yet another anomaly, or perhaps even a second $4.5 million 1971 D dime, grows with each passing day. But with great fame also comes confusion and misinformation. For every genuine error coin out there, there are dozens of ordinary coins misidentified or overhyped as being valuable. Not every odd-looking dime is worth thousands. That's why professional grading and authentication are critical. Major services like PCGS and NGC offer expert evaluations and encapsulation, ensuring that a coin's attributes are preserved and verified. These services also assign a grade based on the coin's condition, ranging from circulated to mint state, and even the elusive, proof-like, and deep cameo designations that if you believe you might have a valuable 1971 D dime, don't clean it, don't alter it, and definitely don't spend it. Place it in a protective holder and consult with an expert. Local coin shops can be helpful, but for serious evaluation, consider reaching out to professional numismatic associations or sending it in for grading. The worst case is you've got an ordinary dime. But the best case? You might just be holding one of the rarest and most valuable dimes ever made. So, the next time you receive change at the grocery store, pay a little extra attention to the dimes. Check the date. Look for that D mint mark. Examine the coin for signs of doubling, discoloration, or alignment issues. A coin you've handled 100 times before might be more than just pocket change. It might be history, mystery, and fortune, all wrapped into one tiny, metallic disc. Today, we're diving into a dime, a simple, small, unassuming 10-cent piece from the year 2003, minted in Denver, that might just be worth up to $2.5 million. Yes, you heard that right. One dime. 10 cents. $2.5 million. So settle in, because this isn't your average coin story. This is a deep dive into mystery, error, speculation, and the true rarity behind one of the most talked about modern coins in US history. Let's unravel the legend, examine the evidence, and ask the question, what could possibly make a coin with a face value of 10 cents, just 1/10 of a dollar, potentially command a price tag of $2.50 million? The coin in question is often referred to as the 2003 D Liberty, one dime, with mysterious and bizarre features, an error coin that, due to its strange origin and striking inconsistencies, has captured the imagination of collectors and casual coin hunters alike. Now, while the United States Mint has never officially confirmed a coin matching all the rumored attributes of this elusive piece, the numismatic community has speculated wildly, and with good reason. Before we go further, let's understand what makes an error coin so valuable. Coins are mass-produced, sometimes in the billions, by highly automated minting processes. But every once in a while, something goes wrong. It could be a misaligned die, a planchet mistake, a double strike, or even an off-metal strike. These errors are usually caught and destroyed. But a few sneak out into circulation. When they do, collectors go wild. Now, let's go back to 2003. The Denver Mint was producing dimes featuring the Roosevelt design, as it had been since 1946. These dimes were expected to be uniform, standard, and without deviation. But that's where things get interesting. Whispers began surfacing about a dime from 2003 that didn't look like the others. A dime that featured unusual errors. Some say it lacked a mint mark entirely, even though it was supposedly struck in Denver. Others claim it had doubling on the Liberty inscription or on Roosevelt's profile. Some reports even suggest bizarre overstrikes, strange reeded edges, or a wrong planchet composition. Could all these things be true of one coin? It's possible, but rare. Let's break it down. First, the mint mark. The D for Denver. Every dime minted in Denver in 2003 should bear the D mint mark on the obverse side, just above the date. But in some alleged cases, this mint mark is missing. A missing mint mark is a red flag for an error, but it's not unheard of. Sometimes the die used to strike the coin doesn't receive a mint mark due to a preparation error. This happened famously with the 1982 No. P. Roosevelt dime, which is now a coveted coin worth hundreds to thousands of dollars depending on condition. So, if a 2003 D Roosevelt dime were struck without a mint mark, that alone could make it rare. But could that account for a multi-million-dollar valuation? Not on its own. That brings us to doubling, specifically, what collectors call doubling or double die errors. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin was engraved with a slight misalignment, so the coin gets struck with two slightly offset images. This can be seen on the letters, the date, or the portrait. True double dies are extremely collectible. The most famous example is the 1955 double die Lincoln cent, which has fetched tens of thousands of dollars at auction. So, if a 2003 D dime were discovered with a strong double die, especially on major elements like Liberty or Roosevelt's eye or jawline, it would definitely be valuable. And if it were combined with other anomalies, like a missing mint mark, then we're starting to talk serious value. Then there are the more exotic errors, errors that rarely occur but when they do, become instant legends. We're talking about off-metal strikes. That's when a coin is struck on a planchet that was intended for a different denomination entirely. Imagine a dime struck on a penny's copper planchet. That kind of mix-up is incredibly rare, but it happens. And it can fetch thousands, or tens of thousands, at auction, depending on the visibility and clarity of the strike. Now consider the reports of the 2003 Liberty dime being struck on a foreign planchet, or perhaps on a transitional metal. Remember, coin compositions have changed in the past, like the 1943 steel penny or the 1965 switch from silver to clad coinage. If a few planchets from a different era or a foreign coin mix-up made their way into the minting process, the results could be stunning. Another possibility is what collectors call a broad strike or off-center strike. These occur when the coin is struck outside of the collar that holds it in place during minting, leading to a distorted, larger-than-normal appearance. These errors are fascinating to look at and often catch high prices if the coin is still in good shape and retains visible features. There are even rumors about a 2003 dime being a mule coin. A mule is a coin that has obverse and reverse dies that don't belong together, like a dime struck with a nickel reverse, for example. These are ultra-rare. The most famous is the 2000 Sacagawea dollar mule with a state quarter obverse. Only a few have ever been confirmed. If a 2003 dime were a mule, it could easily enter the million-dollar conversation. So where did this legendary $2.5 million figure come from? Some say it started with a viral online post, while others claim it's a gross overestimation meant to drive clicks and curiosity. But here's the thing, in the world of rare coins, value is ultimately determined by rarity, demand, condition, and authentication. If a coin is unique and has a clear, verifiable mint error, especially one that has never been documented before, then collectors with deep pockets may be willing to pay astronomical sums to own it. Authentication is key. If you think you've got a 2003 dime that might be something special, don't clean it, don't alter it, and definitely don't sell it to just anyone. Get it graded. Send it to a reputable third-party grader like PCGS or NGC. These organizations can confirm whether your coin is a legitimate error, and they'll assign it a grade based on its condition. A high-grade error coin with dramatic visual appeal can multiply its value exponentially. Let's explore another dimension of why certain coins like this become the stuff of legend: perception. Even if only a few genuine examples exist, or even if none have been confirmed, rumors and speculative market behavior can inflate value estimates. That doesn't mean people are necessarily paying $2.5 million right now for a 2003 era dime, but it sets a ceiling that future sales might one day reach, especially if a perfect storm of rarity, provenance, and collector frenzy occurs. Now, let's imagine for a moment the journey of such a coin. A 2003 Roosevelt dime, freshly minted, but struck with a rare double die, missing its mint mark, maybe even slightly off-center. It escapes the scrutiny of quality control. It gets tossed into a bin, bagged, and shipped out to banks. It lands in a roll of dimes destined for a grocery store. Maybe it sat in someone's cash register for a decade. Maybe a kid picked it up, spent it on a candy bar. Or maybe, just maybe, it sat quietly in someone's piggy bank, waiting to be discovered. Coins like this can sit unnoticed for years. That's what makes this hobby so exciting. Treasure is still out there. In pockets. In drawers. In change jars across America. You never know when a small, shiny dime could turn out to be the find of a lifetime. The mystique surrounding the 2003 Liberty One dime has even led some enthusiasts to speculate about unknown or undocumented experimental strikes. Could the US Mint have tested a different metal alloy? Was there a batch of transitional dies used by mistake? These are long-shot theories, but the world of minting is not immune to human error or bureaucratic oversight. Stranger things have happened. There are also urban legends about a coin dealer quietly acquiring a mysterious 2003 dime with unexplained features and refusing to sell it. Other tales tell of collectors who claim to have seen the coin at private showings or high-end auctions. These stories feed the mythos, adding layers of intrigue and speculation, but let's be realistic for a moment. For a coin to command such a lofty price tag, it would need to be authenticated, verified, and probably even go to public auction. That hasn't happened, yet. But it doesn't mean it won't. Every year, new coins are discovered. Every year, coin grading services announce new varieties, new errors, and occasionally, new legends. So what should you do if you come across a 2003 dime? Look closely. Use a magnifying glass or a coin loop. Check the mint mark. Look for doubling, off-center strikes, strange coloration, or size differences. Weigh it. A standard Roosevelt dime should weigh 2.268 grams. If it's significantly lighter or heavier, that could mean a planchet error. Check the reeded edge. Is it missing? Partial? That could also indicate a striking anomaly, and remember, condition matters. A coin with mint state luster, no scratches, and sharp details is worth more than one that's been worn down. If you think you've got something special, don't try to clean or improve it. That can actually damage the coin and reduce its value. Instead, store it in a safe, dry place and contact a professional. In closing, whether the legendary $2.5 million 2003 Liberty One dime is a myth, a misreported fact, or a coin waiting to be discovered, its story reflects something deeply human: our fascination with rarity, our love of treasure, and our hope that maybe, just maybe, the next great discovery is sitting right there in our own pocket.